My salams, everybody, my salams. Wow. Um, I when I recorded the video that I did the other day about a couple of days ago about um, being in a Muslim marriage and preparing for marriage and choosing the right partner and that kind of thing, I didn't realize that this was such a. I mean, I know it's an important topic. Marriage is an important topic, but that video has been my most watched TikTok. And I have there was some afterthoughts that I had after I recorded it, and I couldn't fit everything in it. It was a really long video. But I got I got so many DMs and so many comments, so many DMs, where women reached out to me personally and had more questions or wanted more advice. And I wanted to let you guys know that I do mindset coaching. I do mindset coaching from an Islamic perspective. So if you're interested in mindset coaching, let me know. I would love, 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 love to help you to get right internally so that you can be in the space to allow what it is you truly desire into your life. Because I really do believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the best for us and wants good for us in this life and the next life. And I think we always have to make sure that we are that our heart is open to receive the things that we're asking for, that our mind is open, and that we're not putting restrictions on ourselves. Because I don't believe that. Now, granted, Allah knows your destiny, knows your qadr, and marriage may not be in the cards for you. That could be very well the case. I don't know that. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that. But I just want to make sure that I mention this, and I meant to mention in the other video, but I just kind of free talk, so I don't write anything down. I don't have, notes or anything. But what came to me from the DMs that I got and from thinking about the subject after I recorded the video was that, and I'm back in the office today, alhamdulillah. Had a couple of days of rest, which was good. What came to me was, and I've met more than one Muslim sister and non-Muslim sister too, myself included, that is struggling with this. And I wanted to bring it to your attention just in case you are struggling with it, to make sure that you are free and clear of this so that your heart is in a very open space for love and for care, and for a healthy relationship with the man. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about forgiveness a lot. And I think he wants us to be in a state of forgiveness always, for ourselves and for others. And what I've heard time from different women, and I experienced this myself before and I think I've shared this on my page before, that I was in therapy. I was in therapy for off and on for a couple of years, and then really seriously in therapy for probably the last 4 or 5 years. I just stopped therapy recently. But one of the things that I discovered within myself when I started therapy, and this was before I got married and then also during my marriage, was I had not totally forgiven the men in my life who I was supposed to trust, that maybe had hurt me in some way. And there were times where I was still holding on to that hurt. And as you guys know, the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. I was still holding on to that hurt. And it was coloring how I responded to my husband in marriage. And I didn't see the signs of it until into my marriage, where my therapist brought it to my attention. I didn't mention this in the last video, but my husband and I have had marriage counseling, alhamdulillah. And I tell all couples, if you are struggling, if you're going through anything in your marriage, try to get some counseling, not just from the imam, but from someone who is licensed and is certified to do marriage counseling. And there are Muslim marriage counselors. At the time, I didn't see a Muslim marriage counselor, but later down the road, I realized, there are Muslim. As I was searching, I was like, there are Muslim marriage counselors. So, and they can counsel from sort of an Islamic perspective. But going back to the theme around forgiveness, forgiving any men that have hurt you in your life. And this is important because, and men have to do the same thing. So men have to also forgive any women that have hurt them in their lives, because that will color how they respond and how they react and how they treat their wife. Same deal with you as a woman. I just believe in a marriage, we have to take equal responsibility for how we show up with each other and how we treat each other, how we talk to each other, and making sure that we're coming from a very healed, whole, loving, nurturing place, right? That there's nothing inside of us subconsciously that are affecting how we treat our spouse. So I found that, and I won't get into specific names around men in my life who had hurt me, because, we don't really backbite. We're not supposed to backbite. So I'm not going to give details. But I will say that I found myself quick to anger for the smallest things when it came to my husband. Quick to anger, quick to blame, quick to, my feelings were easily hurt for everything. Things that weren't even that serious, right? And my therapist pointed out to me one day, she was like, well, he's not the person that hurt you. And it was like, it woke me up, because I didn't realize that I still was holding on to the hurt around men in my life that hurt me when I was younger. And I was bringing that into my relationship. And I tell anybody who listens that I think everybody needs a therapist. I really do. Because what therapy does is it helps you to recognize the root cause of the reasons why you act the way you do, why you respond the way you do, why you show up the way you do, why you don't show up the way you do, right? Why you speak your mind, why you don't speak your mind, why you allow people to mistreat you, why you mistreat others. Like, it literally puts a blinding flashlight on your subconscious mind, because how you think is creating how you feel, and is creating how you respond and behave and act. And so the more I could heal from the hurt that I had experienced, and the more I could really learn to trust myself, to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to trust men, then I could have more of an open heart, and I could have more of an understanding, and I could have more forgiveness in my heart. And I could communicate. It's crazy. I could communicate in a different way. Instead of responding with anger, like my first impulse is anger, I could literally step outside of the anger and calm myself down and be like, what is the real issue? Why are you really upset with him? How do you want to communicate this? When is the best time to communicate this? How do you do it in a way that is that respects him? So that you can also be respected, right? Because whatever you send out to someone else is what you're going to receive. That's just the way things work, right? And so you definitely want to start to think about, are you holding on to any hurt when it comes to men from your past, right? It could be your father, your uncles, your brothers, your cousins. When have men hurt you in your life, and are you still holding on to that, right? How do you view men now? Do you view them in a negative way? And I've seen this a lot on TikTok, where women are sort of condemning all men, like, this is the way men are. They all are like this. They all are. And I always think, wow, what happened to that person that would make them think that way, right? Have they not seen any reflections of good men? Have they not had a man in their life that they can trust, that they love, that they can care about, who came through for them, who, didn't lie to them, who kept their promises? So look back a little bit to see if that was your situation or not. And if you can get counseling, if you have experienced a lot of trauma and hurt from the past, like I did, then you should get some counseling. Not just for you to find a husband or for you to allow a good husband into your life, but for yourself. Because I really do think, even Islamically, what I've found is when I really worked on healing my heart from the past, from my past traumas and hurts and pain, it actually opened a space in me to really receive Islam and to practice Islam. I feel like I've been seriously practicing for a little over a year now, and how closely and connected I feel to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in my acts of worship, like in prayer, in fasting and giving charity, like how connected I feel to him. I've never felt this connected before in those acts of worship that I used to do. And I just feel like healing is a part of that, like opening my heart to love of self, to love of others, to love of my children, to love of my husband, has allowed me to love God in a new way, like to the next level, right? Which has given me such a sense of contentment and peace. So, yeah, so definitely I would say that this should be a part two, but I would say think about, are you still holding on? Ask yourself the question. Close your eyes, put your hand over your heart. Ask yourself the question, am I still holding on to any hurt from men from the past, right? And if you are, you need to really work through those emotions and you need to release the hurt, because it can be hard to feel safe with a man, your husband. It can feel hard to feel safe. It can feel hard to trust. It can be hard to be vulnerable. It can be hard to give your entire heart to someone when you don't trust that they will take care of it, because you haven't experienced that. Maybe as a little girl, maybe as a teen, maybe as a young woman, you haven't experienced it. And it's going to color how you treat him. You're going to be holding yourself back from truly, really caring and really honoring him in the way and respecting him in the way that he deserves. And that's the office phones. I'm going to go. So I'll talk later, guys. My salams.